Greetings, welcome. Thanks for joining me at the Lightroom forecast. This is a reading. I'm going to see what the cards are speaking of today. It's the 30th of April. It's a new moon in Taurus, partial solar eclipse. An interesting time. Quite a gentle place to be at the moment in terms of the celestial movement. So let's get into it. This is a collective reading, so it is quite a general reading. All of the readings on this channel are intuitive tarot. So let's get into it. And whoops, something just popped up. We'll get rid of that. Let's get into it. So a new moon in Taurus, wonderful. We would have been planting a lot of seeds, doing a lot of, I do feel like a lot of tidying or cleaning or organising without it being easy. You know what I mean? Like, we don't see the benefits of that yet, but we will. Now, we get the beautiful Marama, the moon, coming out, conceals and reveals with the Ace of Cups, speaking of we might not see the benefits of our fertilization of the soil, as it were. Slow release, hopefully organic fertilizers. But this beautiful Ace of Cups coming out with the moon. We can harness this particular cycle of the moon in a very positive way. And best to now, because I think the next full moon is in Scorpio. I think that could possibly be a more challenging period. So let's just continue here. Speaking of which, speaking of Taurus and planting seeds, we have the Knight of Wands. This is dreams and ideas and ideals being realized, like in the physical form. It's also a great card of management. Sometimes we don't necessarily know what it is we are. We're not that overly, see the moon here, overly conscious of what's in our immediate environs, of what the movements are, the shifts, the turns, the specifics of those things. We're not always aware of that. But I do suspect that we will be as we head into, mid-month. So we had that Knight of Discs. We get the Queen coming up. Yeah, we will understand our efforts. We will start to see certain things, or get a glimmer anyway. I mean, eclipses reverberate. Like for quite a long time, as do certain cycles of the moon, but eclipses more so. And in that, we have the Prince of Cups. Now, the Prince of Cups, I mean, we know the Queen. I haven't sort of gone into that, but we'll go through and clarify. The Queen of Discs looks back at how she's got up to that hillside, and it's non-gendered. I'm just using words that are easier for me. She's got up to that top of that hill and is looking back on the terrain, where things have grown very well, where desert lies. She knows the lay of the land very well, and this Knight understands the necessity to manage that. we plant and then we manage the growth that comes from it. The Queen's sort of slightly more elevated, in a more elevated position. So whatever we have been doing, and remember these are general readings, the story today appears to be that we will have a kind of moment of clarity and insight. And if it's not a moment of clarity and insight, it'll be purely a literal seeing of where we have been putting our energies, as it were. So, and then we have this Prince of Cups. The Prince of Cups can be Prince of Cups can get a little bit swept away in the reflection from that cup. In the Thoth deck we're dealing with here, the Thoth deck, it's still, nevertheless, it is an offering, but it is emotion overriding intellect. And sometimes, in a Neptunian sense, that can sweep us into territories of the imagination, which are wonderful, but do not always have a firm anchor in the reality around us in this physical world. It's very disky. These two cards really anchor this line of cards. There is potential. There's something coming through in the nature of emotion, in the nature of gifts, of giving. So let's clarify the moon here for this collective reading for the new moon in beautiful Taurus. Maybe we've been growing our own food, or preparing gardens, or beginning to actually reap the benefits of that, in a literal sense, of course. Moon, we get the Page of Pentacles again. So we're getting all these sort of Taurian earth-based cards coming out with the watery cups. The Page prepares the soil. As I said before, when the Knight came out, who's the consummate manager of what has been prepared before, there is also something coming through in terms of a message, in terms of new information and a message. And I do think that this is in relation to whatever's going on in your emotional life at the moment. Collectively. Look, it's interesting times. I mean, it doesn't seem to stop, does it? It's, the gaps between those that seemingly have and those that don't is getting bigger. The cost of living is out of control. It's like there's a great need to really think about how we can pull our resources and use them quite wisely. We need to activate the heart within this as well. It's a practical, tangible reality. Heart power. All right, so let's have a look at this Ace. So there's some clarity, I do think, some idea of all right, so that's what I've been working on. That's what I've been working on. And for some of you out there, and the story will speak for itself, we have the Nine of Wands, a defensive card, a habitual card, and maybe a lot of us, actually even collectively, have been seeing this for what it is: habit, addiction, because it is robotic behaviour, default mechanism. And what do we get it coming out with? The Temperance card, a card of beautiful alchemical card of a synthesizing process, but heavily weighted on timing, on the tick-tock of the clock, the cosmic clock. Timing. And then we have strength, which allows us to overcome this Nine of Wands, to overcome it, to understand it, look at it, just pick it apart a little bit, and understand how that can put the kibosh on a lot of things for ourselves personally and collectively, actually, that defensive energy. So we have strength, which is fully about understanding the different aspects of our psyche, ego, our archetypes, how we operate, taming the beast, the mind beast. So, wow, that's what allows that heart energy to kind of, to really kick into top gear, is understanding these, and understanding that timing in the central point here with Temperance is everything, actually. Let's have a look at this Knight of Discs. It feels like a very specific, sort of literal reading to me. To clarify this Knight of Discs, the consummate manager, we have the Star, a card of healing, wishes, dreams, fulfillment, equal balance here between all of those elements, whether they're the Pleiades here, the 7 stars, or they're the 7 points of energy in your body. There's a wonderful cleansing, baptismal aspect to this, to being able to manage what we've given birth to, what we've fertilized, to manage that in the best possible way. Queen of Discs, please. You know, it's like the Queen initiates on one level as a sort of divine exchange of knowledge and power, that the Queen initiates this Knight into something slightly more elevated than what they're used to. I do feel that there's an initiation going on, and a kind of swapping roles, actually. For some reason, when we say this, we get the 8 of Wands coming out, messages coming through, communication that's fibre optic, fast, immediate, you could say. Did it already happen, or did I just miss that? Did it already happen, or did I just miss that, is what I hear. Speed, clarity. We see those 8 wands coming through. It's will force and willful. And as I said, immediate. We come to the Prince of Cups in the Thoth deck here. We get the Prince of Cups again in the page in the Morgan Greer. In this deck, it is an offering, emotional offering. I'm not saying that this prince isn't offering something either, but he's slightly distracted by his own reflection. Emotion overrides intellect. So there's a struggle with this knight. Now the page, I should say prince, because it is a prince. The Page of Cups here is an emotional offering. It is small. It's incremental. But I always say, it is still an emotional offering. With that, we have judgment. So it's quite interesting, do you not think, on a collective level? To me, it's actually slightly confusing because it seems very literal. It seems like there's it seems very literal in the sense that it's very disc orientated, earth-bound, which is not surprising. This is quite a powerful new moon in Taurus. But there's also what feels to me to be some kind of male-female interchange, exchange. I get that really strongly here, which I don't normally. I'll just tap that. Sorry. There's an interchange or an exchange. It is as if the teacher offers a new information, new way of doing things, but on a really kind of cosmic level, like the magician working. I just really get that, like ceremonial, ritualistic, the exchange of knowledge, even in the sense of traditional Wiccan practice. This really is incredibly strong here. Incredibly strong. There may be someone out there that is working within that, you know, or with that at this current time. Let's just get a Brian Froud Pixie and Fairy card. Ooh, we've got quite a few. So I hope we all get a chance to be out there and see and bathe a little bit in this new moon in beautiful Taurus. We have, speaking of magicianship, we have the old gnome, which is the magician in the Brian Froud Pixie and Fairy Oracle, and we get the singer of healing, a beautiful healing card. It is a kind of angelic figure. So there's a lot of opportunity to bathe ourselves in this sort of cosmic light at the moment, and so it's all very interesting. I'm just thinking, okay, all right, shall we pull? Look, I got this. I've been looking at it for a while. This deck, which actually is quite humorous. It's quite pertinent, especially if you're into art. Well, everyone is, aren't they? We're all artists in our own right. And the little messages are like life, work, and inspiration. So I'll just pull one card from that because I just got it. It is very Eurocentric and US centric. It would be wonderful to have a, you know, like an Asian Pacific angle on this, to do a deck like this. So, but it is good. I like it. So let's just get one card for this collective reading for the new moon in Taurus. Wow. And we all know this man that was Salvador Dali. So we get life. Never make an appearance without controversy. Work. Tap the unconscious and pray it isn't boring. Inspiration. Being Dali is inspiration enough. You know, there's a sort of slightly mirrored, you know what I mean? So we have that. I think that's pretty cool. I kind of like those little beetles up there too. So I hope you enjoyed that reading for the collective. All the astro signs, individual signs, will be up by this evening, the 30th of April. So, thank you for joining me at the Lightroom forecast. Have a beautiful week, and we'll see you next time. Ka kite, bye.